How's everybody doing today? Great. How's everybody doing? Doing good? Good. Thanks for coming. This is LA2M, and if you're not ordering, please stop talking. I'm sure there's a more tactful way to do that. But hey, welcome to LA2M, formerly known as Lunch and Arbor Marketing. We are a marketing education group. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. Is there anyone here for your very first LA2M? Very first? Okay, welcome folks, welcome. We do meet every Wednesday. We started, gosh, we're coming up on an anniversary here. 5 years. Yeah, I believe, 5 years. So we started 5 years ago, which is pretty exciting, and we need to have some sort of party. But we're a nonprofit group. We meet here every Wednesday, and we have great speakers, like really smart speakers, talk about different topics. You're free to attend. It's free to attend. If you want lunch, it's $10. That goes to Conor O'Neill's and includes drink, tip, and your lunch, which is a great deal. And then we pass the hat to cover expenses. Suggest a few bucks, $5, whatever you can throw in the hat. That's how we fund ourselves. And Mary Lou is standing in for our treasurer, Stacy. But Mary Lou actually is LA2M's sole employee. She's LA2M manager, and she handles all our speaker booking and a lot of the work that takes place at LA2M, because it's really a lot of work. So thanks, Mary Lou. So she'll pass the hat around. Also thanks to Roger Rayle. Roger always videotapes these events, and we live stream them. So if you're not here, you could be watching it a live stream at la2m.org/live. You can also follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and there's a Foursquare check-in too for LA2M. So any of you Foursquare people, does anyone still use Foursquare? A few? All right, Bob. Who's the mayor? Who's the mayor right now? Aaron is the mayor.
He told me I was too far away to check in.
Oh, see, Carter's trying to check in.
You can't drive by and check in, Carter.
Yeah.
I was in the parking lot.
So Aaron is the mayor. Jim was the mayor. Carter's been the mayor. So it's a real competitive battle out there for mayors. But LA2M is funded by sponsors. Now this month's sponsor is not here, but Laura Spencer of ServPro Canton. You guys know ServPro? They're a great company. She paid $250 to be the sponsor this month. So thanks to Laura. They do, if you have like a fire or water damage or something and your house goes wrong, ServPro will come in and clean it up and make it look brand new. And they do really great work. Any type of mold mitigation, things like that. So check the email newsletter. We have an email newsletter that goes out to around 1,500, I think it's almost 2,000 people right now. So if you're the LA2M sponsor, you have a nice banner there in the newsletter. Check there if you want to learn more about ServPro. What else? Do we have a t-shirt, Mary Lou? We have t-shirts. We do have t-shirts. If anybody wants an LA2M t-shirt, we give them to the speakers. Format of this program is, thank you very much. Mark, here's your t-shirt.
Hey, thank you very much.
And Carter's going to take a picture of you with that.
Okay.
But,
appreciate it.
Yeah, that's your famous LA2M t-shirt. The format is the speaker talks for approximately 30 minutes. There is time for Q&A. And then at 12:45, we do introductions. So you will get a chance to introduce yourself at the end. Real quick before we get started, does anyone have an event or something that we need to know about? That we need to tell? Oh, Mike, yes, Mike does. Whoa. I'll give you the mic.
I get to talk right now.
Yeah.
All right, I'm Mike Brooks, but I'm here to talk about ACE, the annual collaboration for entrepreneurship, which is going to have to be, gotta get my tongue ready here. I wasn't ready for this. I had to get psyched up. Okay, January 31st. It's always been in Ann Arbor, but now we're moving to Livonia. We're going to be at a place called Burton Manor, which is right on 96. Easy to get to from Ann Arbor. We really hope everybody will come who's here at LA2M. It's all about entrepreneurship. It's all about people who provide services to entrepreneurs. And of course, we're always looking for people who have money to give to entrepreneurs or funders. And we really try to gather all those people together to collaborate and be part of the program. We'll have 8 different fabulous panel discussions that all apply to entrepreneurs and starting up your own business. We have a great speaker, Terry Cross from Techtown, Detroit, who's going to talk about Michigan's place in the entrepreneurial and venture capital ecosphere. And we also have great food. And you can register at www.ace-event.org. $13. We are also looking for volunteers, especially student volunteers, to help us out with crowd control and other management things. So talk to me afterwards. I've also got cards here to hand out, so see me afterwards to get information on that. Thanks a lot, Derek.
Thanks, man. What's up, Roger?
Just to add, for the $13, you get more than $13 worth of food. Everything else is bonus.
Yeah, good food, good networking,
Food-driven
lots of good
people.
Startups. We do really encourage you to go to the ACE event. So, all right. So without further ado, we might as well introduce our speaker. Mark Johnson, he's spoken at LA2M before. He's very smart, social media marketer, very good with Twitter and different social networks. And he's going to teach us about finding your social niche. So please give Mark Johnson a warm round of applause. Mark.
Thank you, Derek. And let's see. I want to make sure folks can hear me in the back. Can you hear me back there all right?
I can hear you back here.
Okay, good, good. I'll project. Well, I'm excited to be back, and this was fun. I had a chance to talk with Mary Lou before the holidays, and we were talking about a topic for today, or for this month. And I was impressed by the fact that this group is becoming more multi-generational. We've seen some college students, even some high schoolers come to the group. So we were talking about that, and she thought it would be cool to talk about not only social media marketing, which is an area of expertise for me, but a multi-generational approach to that. So that's what we're going to do today. So where to begin? If you are not already at a point where you've carved out a space for yourself in SOME, S-O-M-E, kind of an abbreviation that some of us use for social media, then here's some questions that I think are worth asking. And when I meet with clients sometimes, these are some of the first questions I ask before we really dig into defining a strategy. One of them would be, where does your audience, the people you want to reach, where do they hang out? Are they on Facebook? Are they on Twitter? Are they on Instagram? Are they still ramping up on social media? But if you say we're going to reach them on Facebook, but they're all on Pinterest, then you're not going to find them. Okay, so that's worth defining. And then I would say, just because social media does take time, you know, almost everything I do on social media in terms of the networks and subscriptions and so on, I do for free, as far as paid for services. But I will tell you, it can take a lot of time. So I think it's important that you find networks that you enjoy using. Otherwise, you may sign up and really not use them. And there have been a few of those for me. You know, I signed up for Foursquare, I signed up for a few other things, but I haven't really used them. They just didn't click with me. And then another thing is the type of content. What you're going to see in these three case studies, I'm an architect by background, then moved to marketing. So I'm a pretty visual guy, and a lot of what I create in terms of online content and what I share or curate through social media is visual content, design, architecture, interiors, and so on. So the three people we're going to study today all have an emphasis, I would say, on visual content, but it's three radically different approaches. One is really heavily on photography, that's Dunk's Photo. Another one, Sketch This, Eric Schimmelfennig, a good friend of mine. He is a kitchen and bath designer, but I would say even more than that, a technologist. So a lot of what he's looking at is ways that he can use social media to show 3D content that he designs, often in SketchUp, which used to be owned by Google and then was recently purchased, or purchased last year, by Trimble. And then Courtney M. Price, who we're also going to look at, is an interior designer. So interior design is really what she shares and what she's all about. Okay, so finding the best fit across social media for whatever your particular content is. That's what I would say is another important objective. And then finally, what's going to be fast and easy for you to use, because it's a time suck. and I would say part of, we're going to look at this in the very last slide, where I asked each of these three people, in terms of your online use and the devices you're using, the hardware, so whether you're in your studio or whether you are on the road or out somewhere on a portable device, what do you like using? And what's about the percentage of time you spend on 2 or, in 2 cases, 3 different devices to make it fast and easy? Okay? And they all have different answers, so I think you'll enjoy seeing that too. So, here are our 3 examples. So Dunk's photo, he's a Gen Y, 24 years old. Now, full disclosure, Duncan happens to be my son, okay? And he's down in Austin. And then sketch this is a 30-something, early 30s, and he is in Massachusetts. And then Courtney is a Gen X, early 40s, and she's out of Dallas. So these are the 3 people we're going to study in just a few slides on each. So if we look at Duncan first, what's he do? Well, he's a music video director. He does photography. He does some graphic design, and he's a traveler. Okay, now that last one, traveler, which he defines himself. This is what he's listed if you look at his descriptions on social media. There are a few insights we're going to see about the way he uses his networks that addresses that, I guess. So he is building his brand, which is Dunk's Photography. He may change that to Dunk's Productions because he's moved into video a lot more, music video and so on. And one of the things I'm going to mention about each of them is, I'd say, a major accomplishment, and one of the reasons that I thought it would be worth sharing their story with you. So Duncan he's been on Twitter for a couple of years, and I have tried to help ramp him up on that myself. Across my 2 Twitter handles, I've got almost 10,000 followers, but he kind of got it, but it wasn't a great fit for him. But Instagram, after being on Facebook, MySpace, and Twitter, and because of the photography approach, he jumped on that, and in 8 months, he has over 21,000 followers. So we're going to look at that one in particular. He also happens to be on Twitter, Flickr for his professional work, Vimeo for some of his video, and then also Facebook. Okay, so this is Duncan's website. And just to describe it for a second, it's a news magazine format. So you can see there are various posts here. So it's a form of a blog, but they call it a news magazine style. Now in this case, he is, and you'll see in those little tags on the left-hand corners, and by the way, I'm going to be posting this on SlideShare tomorrow, and then I think Mary Lou's going to be embedding it on the site. So you'll be able to see this and study it, and if you want to take notes then or later, that might make it easier now. But anyway, what you'll see is photography, film, and design. Those are 3 of the things that he shares. Now those have to do with his work. But then notice he also recommends books, hardware that he comes across, and freebies. So one of his strategies or ideas is that he shares more than just his actual work, but also some things he thinks might be valuable to you. So what is the social media strategy? Well, in a nutshell, it's to promote his work via Instagram and then share it or push it out to Twitter as well. So he's working across a couple of networks. His goal is to maximize his followers as he is building a brand out there based on his visual content. And then everything he does is designed to point back to the website. And when I'm talking with folks about social media strategy, generally that's one of the things we always agree on, that I call it the mothership. That's probably going to be your website or your blog, where you have the most time and attention devoted, the most in-depth examples of your work, etc. And social media is, at least for professional purposes, is really a way to drive people to that and build that audience following and hopefully generate new work. Okay. So what we're seeing here is his Instagram page, okay, and it's gotten quite visual, short description up there, and then these are photos that you will see that he has posted on kind of a timeline, if you will, a little bit like a Facebook timeline. So let's dig in just a little bit, because there's a strategy behind this. It's not just taking pictures and throwing them up there. So he's mixing it up between 2 types of content in general. One is the professional side of his business that he's trying to share and build. So that's an example on the left. So Here he's doing a photo shoot for a music video in a garage, parking structure, a garage, someplace in Austin. So he's got the setup, they're about ready to go, they got the generators powered up, but then he's using his iPhone 5 to take some Instagram pictures and share those with his 21,000 followers. Okay? And his strategy is to post about 3 to 6 pictures maximum a day. That's what he likes. Now, that particular picture, if I can see it, it's a little blurry, but it's been liked over 700 times. Now, if I got that many likes for anything I had on Facebook or Twitter or anywhere else, it'd be incredible. But then Duncan has a buddy, and they compete for what they can get the most likes with on Instagram. And it drives them nuts, but their biggest pictures in terms of likes are silly pictures of cats. Okay, so this is Duncan's cat, Cuddles, and he's over 17 years old, and that picture's been liked over 2,000 times. Okay? So part of the strategy is to maximize likes, but share his professional work and share the works of others. Okay? If it was all professional stuff, he wouldn't generate as much. If it was all this sort of stuff, nobody would know about his work. Okay? So that's kind of his thinking behind it. Now, here are some screen captures off of an iPhone that show what this looks like. And this is a little bit deeper into the strategy. So you'll see they're numbered 1 through 4, and there's just a title for each of these. So his Instagram profile page looks like the one on the left. And there you can see the 21,000 followers are listed at the top. Notice he is only following 109 people. Okay, on Twitter, I like an average where I follow about half of the people following me. It's just kind of a statistic or rule of thumb. He liked the idea of trying to carve out a niche that shows that he is followed by a whole lot of people. I don't want to say celebrity status, but people will look at this and say, wow, that many people follow him. He only follows that many. I better follow him too. It kind of gives people a sense of urgency, if you will. So that's a little bit of a strategy. Now here's one of his pictures, this next one, and this would be, and you'll notice the title, Pictures, Comments that are relevant to his followers. So in this case it says, I love stopping by Castle Hill and checking out the new art. So this is a place in Austin where people take their spray cans and do artwork. So it's changing every weekend, and he stops and he likes to share that. Well, he has this kind of art, design, sort of cutting-edge indie following, and they like that sort of stuff. So that one has been liked almost 1,500 times on Instagram. Okay? The next thing that he does, and I've seen him when I spent a week with him in Austin over the holidays, and the next thing that he does is several times a day, he goes on and he looks at his stream of all the work by those 109 people he follows. And a lot of those are professional photographers. And he likes a lot of their work. So you'll see in that post that here, 1 second ago, Duncan liked 8 photos. So he will do that, and I think that that's part of this strategy of following others, or kind of running in good company, running in a crowd of people that you want to be associated with. Anyway, it's part of a strategy. And then notice number 4, that's a behind the scenes picture. So he'll often do this, a little bit like that picture in the parking structure where they were ready to shoot a music video. This is some of his graphic work, and he's just getting ready to document. And he says making some ultra-high resolution images, da-da-da-da-da. And that has been liked, I can't see it without my glasses, I think 800 times. Okay? So not as big, but notice all of this kind of approach, not just walking down the street taking pictures of anything. So it's not like holiday pictures, and nothing wrong with that, but this is an approach that he uses as a design professional. Okay, we talked a little bit about the fact that he defines himself as a traveler. Now, he was very upset at the demise of MySpace. And the reason is because rock groups were big users of MySpace, and occasionally he's gone on tour with groups that he's doing music videos for, and this was very entrepreneurial. he would see what groups were in the cities where they were going to be going, and it was easy to do. This was part of the functionality of MySpace. It was easy to do. He'd contact them and try to book photo shoots with them and make money on the road as he was going along. Facebook doesn't really do that, but the bands have all migrated over. Well, here's a new feature on Instagram, and it's called Photo Map. So now if you're an Instagram user and you're on Wi-Fi and so on, it'll automatically look for where you're near, and it'll pinpoint it on a map. But then if you want to drill down, you can actually pick the place, or you can name it yourself and search for it. But just to walk through these real quickly, the first one, what he's showing is that he works, at least now, in the US and Canada. In the second shot, you see that in the U.S., the next drill down, his work has been primarily in Michigan and Texas. In the third shot, we drill down, and it's just a matter of clicking on the image with the biggest numbers. So that's 281 shots in Texas. Click on that, then you see that his work ranges between basically Dallas to the north, San Antonio to the west, and Houston to the east. And then if you click on Austin and then click further downtown, you see these are the sites where he's done these music video shoots and so on. So it's a way of people seeing where's this guy work and what kind of photography is he doing. So again, now some of these are playful shots, but a lot of these have to do with his work. Okay, let's talk about Eric. So he has sketched this on, and the Twitter handle is what I've used to identify them. So Eric is an AKBD, that's associate kitchen and bath designer, and he does a whole bunch of stuff. So SketchUp trainer, he's got a new plug-in, so he's developed that. He builds 3D models. He also speaks. Okay, so he's building a brand that he calls SketchThis.net. That's basically his blog or website. What I think is the most significant accomplishment that Eric's come up with in the last year is what is Design Pin Thursday. And we're going to talk about that in a second, but that's the hashtag for it on Twitter. And then he's also Twitter, Pinterest, YouTube with some of his training videos, Facebook and Google+. So this is what his site looks like. Again, it's more of a blog site, although in the right-hand column he's got other content. And what Eric's doing here is basically promoting his services and then also his social media locations. So the icons are right there. He's got a Twitter feed on the right, so he's pushing all of that. But then he's also sharing related content that could be meaningful to the people who can see him here. So there's a click through to Trimble, who now owns SketchUp, and a few other things, so you can download these programs and so on. So what's Eric's strategy? Well, he's kind of all over the place. And I'd say it's really to leverage relevant content and engage everywhere. Okay? Now he does focus, but he's in a lot of places. And what's cool about it is because he is out there so much, and again this kitchen and bath emphasis, 3D design and so on, he was approached and hired by a European company that makes basically cabinet interiors, storage systems. They're from Germany. They make a beautiful product. And they were coming to the U.S. and they needed to market, wanted to market. They wanted to do social media. They saw what Eric was doing and hired him. So his presence actually landed him that job. So now what he's doing on Twitter is actually tweeting for multiple brands. What works well about this is the content is related. He's a kitchen and bath designer. The products that Clever Storage US is what they call their brand here in the United States. What they market is something that the community that he's a part of specifies and purchases. Okay? So that's just a peek at those two sites. And if you use those hashtags, or excuse me, those Twitter handles, you'd be able to find them. And then to mix it up, and the term I like to use is being there without being there. as much as you can integrate across social media networks without having to put time to build original content on each one, the better. It's just a time saver. So this is kind of cool in that here are all of these 3D visual images, and he's got these in other places too, but he's got a nice photo collection in Facebook of his portfolio. So these aren't pictures of his vacation. This is a professional portfolio. Now some of these are, one of those is one of my designs, but these are designs, some of his, some of others, but he's done the 3D rendering of all of them. Okay, so it's a way that he can showcase his work on Facebook. And then this is the Clever Storage US Facebook page, which he launched on their behalf. And this is where he engages with designers and promotes their brand on Facebook. And then this is kind of cool. Pinterest, which for the design community and especially interior designers is just huge. You know, they're all there. So what I like about this is just showing that he can showcase Pinterest and what Clever Storage is doing there. This is the Clever Storage Pinterest page, but it's embedded in Facebook. So he didn't have to, you know, he connected the two, he integrated them. But again, it's that being there without being there, so he doesn't have to do all of this from scratch. So that optimizes their exposure on Facebook. And then if we went to Design Pin Thursday, I want to talk about that a little bit. So those of you who are on Twitter may know about Friday Follow. Okay, so that's just a hashtag, and then you can spell out Friday Follow or use FF. And every Friday, if you get mentioned in a Friday Follow, people who follow that Twitter stream will see all of those. And it is a nice way to build a following and so on. Frankly, it gets a little tiresome because you always feel compelled if somebody's mentioned, you know, Friday Follow to thank them. And it can get out of hand. Well, anyway, this I thought was a very interesting idea. For Clever Storage US, Eric thought, how can I use Pinterest and Twitter in combination to help them build a US brand? So he came up with the idea that every Thursday, this hashtag, Design Pin Thursday, would be one that could be followed all day long, similar to Friday Follow. But what you do with it is you pick something on Pinterest that you like, having to do with design, and there are different themes, and then you put that link in to your tweet. So anybody following the stream can see all of this cool stuff from all over the web that all has to do with design. Okay? And because Eric was already well connected with a lot of designers, a lot of them gravitated right over to Clever Storage. So he's got a nice following for this every Thursday. And then what's cool, because he's a busy guy, is he started inviting guest hosts. So I got to do the first one, and that was kind of fun. Picked a topic, had my pins ready to go, had my tweets all scheduled, and then we promoted that topic a few days ahead of time, and then everybody knew when they show up that day that, and it was basically living in small spaces, high design for small spaces. That was my theme. And then they were sharing things that they had found. So at this point, that Pinterest page has over 1,200 pins by others. So I describe it as crowdsourcing across two social media platforms, Pinterest and Twitter, but building this brand recognition for Clever Storage, which they didn't have 12 months ago. Okay? So I thought that was very interesting. I wanted to share that because I think that's a breakthrough. I haven't seen anybody else do anything like that. Okay, let's talk about Courtney. So she's an interior designer and now a blogger, only in the last couple of years. And she's building a brand, her brand, via her blog, which is CourtneyPriceDesign.com. And as of last night, and she didn't do this artificially, she's just diligent on Twitter, but she has over 10,000 followers of her hashtag, which you see at the top of Courtney Price Design. She's also very active on Pinterest with over 800 followers there, over 900 likes on Facebook. So this is her site, and it's really it's a pure blog site, if you will. This is just one post. This isn't like a magazine style site. And she will post mostly on design trends and ideas. What I would say is Courtney's not so much a technologist, but she's a designer who's interested in all sorts of ideas, and she's just so diligent about all of this. So she updates this often. She's probably averaging 3 new posts a week. So for her followers or subscribers or her community, there's always a reason to go back to her blog to see new content. And then she also was smart to cover products that she likes and name brands. So it's not just kind of picking out installations that she likes, this or that. In fact, this is a hardware company, and they make this gorgeous cabinet hardware. So she's kind of featuring the brand. Well, brands pick up on that, because a lot of brands are out there on social media now. Okay? So the good news, as to what's come of this, is she's built a strategy around it. So I'd say her strategy, in a nutshell, is to build her brand as a design blogger. So not just interior designer, but now as a leading design blogger in the country. That would be her goal. And using this online community across all the networks to also leverage in-person opportunities. So that's a little bit different twist, and we'll look at what she's done with that in a minute. But let's go to Pinterest for a second, because she's one of the folks who really dazzles on Pinterest because of the content she's got, and it's well curated, etc. So she has 32 pin boards, all on different things, but it all has something to do with some aspect of design, and a lot of it interiors. It's over 4,000 pins. Now some of this is her content, but most of it is content from other places. And because she curates well, and for each one of these pins, if you click on it, it'll take you right to the site or identify who originally pinned it, if she's repinning it. So it's easy to find, and everybody appreciates it. She's doing all of these folks a favor by repinning their content. So she shares a lot of her favorites, and then she will also share, some of it is self-serving too, because you want to promote yourself. So some of these pin boards would actually be posted back to her blog, etc. This is her Facebook page, and she's using this, I'd say, primarily to engage with her community, but again, also to promote her blog. Think of that, she thinks of that as her mothership. Now, one of the things she told me is that Facebook is a little deceptive. You don't often get a whole lot of comments, a whole lot of likes, but she said around Dallas there are people now, like at the design centers and places she hangs out, who spot her and say, oh yeah, I've been on your Facebook page, I've seen you before, even though they've never left a comment or liked it or whatever. So she says that's kind of traction you may not see, but you may be getting on a site like Facebook. And I'd say one of the other things that she does so well is that she is very generous about sharing other people's content. And the notion here is being useful to others. That's a lot of what social media is about. It's kind of like the golden rule. If you treat people well or promote them, they're likely to return the favor, follow you back, retweet you, repost you, etc. So she's very good at that and has really been building a brand out of it. So what are some of her in-person accomplishments? Well, this is kind of cool. She was selected by Brizo Faucets. Now that's the luxury brand for Delta faucets, which you're probably already familiar with. So Brizo competes directly with Hansgrohe out of Europe and Kohler out of the US. And they do a very cool thing twice a year where they take a group of design bloggers to New York City for New York Fashion Week. And they have special events with Jason Wu, and who designed Michelle Obama's inauguration gown last time around, among other things. So it is a kind of all expense paid, wonderful trip that Brizo sponsors in part to build their brand. But she was selected to do that because of everything she was doing. And then just very recently, there's another group, if you will, another portal called Modenus, M-O-D-E-N-U-S, it's right there. You put a @ symbol before that, that's the Twitter hashtag, or excuse me, Twitter handle. And they now do something called Blog Tour. So Courtney was just selected to go on the designer blog tour, and she'll be paid to do this, as well as her expenses being covered, and it's to Cologne, Germany. So that's a pretty cool gig, and there are 15 selected from across the country to do that. Had she not been doing all of this on social media, never would have happened, because the brands that are sponsoring these things are going particularly after design bloggers, because with her following of 10,000 Twitter fans, etc., that's, if you think of it, free or very inexpensive advertising for a brand who wants to reach the interior design community. Question?
Yeah, Mark, you don't mind if I interrupt?
No,
Now, was Courtney a Brizo client, or was Brizo a client of hers before all this?
Yeah, great question, yeah. There are a couple of Twitter chats that have to do with interior design. INT, or Interior Designer Chat, is one. Another one is KB Tribe Chat. And people who hang out in those, the brands start hanging around those because they want to engage with the designers. So Brizo discovered her through those chats, began to follow her, look at her stuff, read her blog, saw what she was doing for other brands, and that's why they picked her. Yeah, great question, thank you. So, and I'm not sure how we're doing on time, but we can go into any questions. But this one I just wanted to give you, because I thought it would be an interesting question. I didn't say how much time do you spend online, but I said of your time online, not necessarily doing production work. My son will stay up all hours of the night doing video production, editing, and so on. Not that sort of stuff, but your online work, and that might be networking, marketing, reaching out, connecting, tweeting, etc. How do you divide that across devices? So in his case, Duncan said that his computer, and all of these folks are MacBook Pro users, and I'm not trying to promote Apple, that's what I use. But anyway, in his case, about a third of his time is spent on his MacBook Pro, okay, online time. But this astounded me. He's got an iPhone 5 now, and he said about 65% of his work is done on that little device. Now, when I asked him about it, I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, that's what I use for Instagram. And you saw everything he's doing there. When he's in a bar on 6th Street in Austin, and somebody wants to talk to him and he shares his portfolio, he's showing it on his iPhone. And he said that number has increased because the iPhone 5 is faster than his Wi-Fi connection on his computer. In Eric's case, he does a lot of CAD work, a lot of heavy lifting, but a lot of that's online. So his percentage on the computer was very high. And he said about 20/20 as far as iPad, and he's a Droid user. Okay, so he's on 3 devices. And then Courtney, about half of her time computer-based. And this was interesting. She said when she's on the go, the iPad is with her everywhere. It's her little buddy. And she only uses her iPhone if she doesn't have her iPad. So she's not really using her phone as a smartphone anymore since the iPad. I'll call it a dumb phone. It's just for phone calls. But I thought that was interesting. And I would say it might point to the fact that Gen Y, my son's age, and I've read other studies that would bear this out, just the younger generation more and more is moving to portable devices. They're becoming so powerful, so easy to use, so easy to share.
You've got 5 minutes if you want to take any questions.
Okay, yeah. That is it for this. So at this point, if there are questions, I'd be glad to answer them. Derek, it looks like there's one. Oops. Do the next lesson.
I've read a couple of places that now, sorry, Instagram, if you post on Instagram, they now own your picture. Are you familiar with that post?
Yeah. Well, let's see. Now, I'm not entirely up to speed, but I know that there was a lot of pushback when they made an announcement just a couple of weeks ago. So I don't know if they retracted that or not.
I think they did. They sort of retracted it.
Yeah.
So, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Leslie. Yeah. With the mic.
I was going to ask a question. I wasn't. Okay, but so as of January 13th, then you just need to make sure that if there's anything that you're really worried about, you know, you need to take that off. But they are not going to. They're not owning your pictures or selling them the way that people thought they would. Originally it was said that they would use it for their investors. They could, like if a hotel resort wanted to use one of your pictures, they could for free. But now they're kind of saying, oh, that's not really what we meant. But it is, I did read it, and that is what they meant originally. So they've done that. But the original privacy policy is not really changed that much. You never did have complete ownership of your pictures, if that makes sense. So they're not really changing that much. So if you don't, whatever freedom you have now is what you'll still have after January 13th.
Thanks for the update.
Okay, and I have a question.
Oh, yeah, okay, sure.
The different people up there that you focus on, how many people do they have working for them?
It's just them.
Just them? Okay.
Yeah, no, good question. I haven't thought of that. No, they're all solo. Now, I will tell you that each of them, they don't work 8 to 5. You know, if you look at their Twitter stream at 10 o'clock at night, you may see some new stuff out there. So, not that they're working solid all those hours, but they didn't get there for nothing. Thanks.
Hi, thank you. I was just curious if you tracked back, or if they've tracked back any ROI progress with their social efforts.
Yeah, fair question. I come from a corporate background, and that's where I'm at again. And ROI is something I have to focus on from that standpoint, because to upper management, I have to justify those budgets. If you go to my SlideShare collection of 18 presentations, so under slideshare.net/Mark Johnson FAIA, that's where I have a whole bunch of presentations that delve into the metrics, because I use those. In their cases, they could tell you some numbers, but they haven't tracked it for their own businesses.
Any more questions? I'm looking at how much work that they're obviously doing online, and in relative to the ROI thing, obviously they feel it's worthwhile. Is there any way that you can sort of just, for these three people, kind of quantify maybe how much time they really do spend and how worthwhile it is to them?
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised in terms of their total businesses. Now, for Duncan, that's doing all his photo gigs and his videos and so on. He's probably working 60, maybe sometimes 70 hours a week. I don't think Courtney's working quite that many hours, but probably logging 60 hours a week. Eric easily. He's in so many places at once, kind of doing his own thing, plus he's working for this European company, so he's probably logging 60 to 70 hours a week. Those two guys are single. Courtney is married, but she doesn't have any kids, so there are no kids in the picture, and that probably frees them up for some of that time.
But they feel it's obviously worthwhile because they're doing it.
Yeah, the brand building that they're doing, definitely. They're seeing the opportunities. My son, the reason he's got work in Canada is a longboard company saw his video work and hired him for 3 weeks to go to the Northwest to do longboard videos to promote their new products. He would have never gotten that attention had he not been doing the social media marketing. Yeah.
And I might have missed this. What was the age difference between the three people? Like, what were their ages?
Oh, yeah. So Duncan's 24. I think Eric's 31 or 32, and Courtney's 44. So about 10 years apart.
Seems like Duncan's a chip off the old block.
Yeah. Thanks, Derek.
Let's give Mark a big round of applause. Very interesting, you know, and what does it show you? It shows you that it can be done, right? I mean, these are people, these are actually pretty recent, within the last couple of years, really success studies of how people have built something pretty wonderful. So, really good, usable tips. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So now we get to go around the room and introduce ourselves. And we go around the whole room in 15 minutes. And we ask that you stand up and give us your name, your company, and if you're looking for something, let us know quickly, and then we'll pass the mic to your friend, and we'll do that. So here, we'll start over here.
My name is Jeff Yoder. We're with a company called LA2M. We do computer support, local computer support, on-site service, and etc.
My name is Luke Baru. I work for a company called Shoshana Technologies. We make a home care management system for home care agencies, helps manage their whole system. I do their marketing for them.
Customer went through our last motion.
Good afternoon, I'm JT Peterson. I do software business management for 321 Ignis.
Hello, I'm Derek Gilkey. I work for Latham Liftstrat and basically a foot soldier on the medical care for people who are bedridden and so forth. Hello.
Hi, I'm Elizabeth Reynolds and I'm a civil engineering student.
And I'm Mark Reynolds, that's my daughter.
Hi, I'm Kathy Szynski. I am the sales advisor working with students at U of M student publications, so Michigan Daily, the Michigan Enzian, and the Gargoyle. And I also teach in the online master's IMC program at Eastern, and do some consulting, marketing consulting work on the side.
I'm Stephanie Holland. I work for the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society in our fundraising program for Light the Night Walk and Leukemia Cup Regattas.
My name is Nick Helmholtz. I work at Clean Energy Coalition in Ann Arbor, and I also developed a board game called Minecraft.
I'm Elizabeth Raymond. I own Boundless Beauty Studio. It's a photography studio, and we specialize in boudoir and maternity. If anyone doesn't know what boudoir is, it's Maximum Victoria's Secret-ish.
Tina Walter from Reform Marketing. I specialize in appreciation marketing.
Hi, I'm Laura Pazahowski. I currently work as a basketball official at Ann Arbor Rec and Ed, but I would like to learn more about careers in graphic design and marketing.
I'm Mindy Matthews. I work with Google. I'm doing virtual interior photographs of any sort of business in town. So if you have a brick and mortar business and you want it to be viewed on Google and hosted there, I'm the one to contact.
Hi, I'm Deb Nystrom, and I am a leadership coach and a change strategist and a open space facilitator. So if you have a business that's dealing with disruption and wants to learn how to be agile, talk to me.
Hi, my name is Daryl Washington, graphic designer as well as sports photographer, both print and digital.
Hi, I'm Tim Sefton, and I'm with Merrill Lynch in wealth management, and I'm interested in learning how social media can help grow my business.
Hi, I'm Chris Wetner with The Ultimate Analyst. My job is to manipulate Google so that your customers find your business before anyone else's. I'm going to take advantage. When you were asking about events earlier, I got the mic so I can dance. Not this Thursday, but a week from Thursday. I live in Waterford, so for me this is a track that's so zipsy. So I won't tolerate anybody saying it's too far to go from here to Ypsi. If you're looking to learn a little bit about Twitter, I'm actually be giving a talk on Thursday at Spark East, not Spark Central. Tricks are for kids, but Twitter is for more than playtime, from 6 to 8. So if you'd like to know more about that, let me know. So Chris Wecker with The Ultimate Analyst, thanks for letting me have the floor.
Yeah.
Hi, Laura Kirchner in Genex Digital Marketing, and I am our client experience manager. I'm Erin. I am a content producer at Genex Digital Marketing. I am one of the LA2M live tweeters. I'll also introduce Lauren, who is our new live tweeter.
Well, I've already been introduced. I'm Lauren Schneider, and I'm the social media coordinator at Ingenex.
Hi, my name is Steve Bison, and I am a professional life coach at stevebison.com. So I run my own business.
Can't see you.
Hi, I'm Nancy Rojas Fairley. I'm a creative marketing consultant for a couple different manufacturers in Jackson.
Hi, my name is Laura Anna, and I'm a new intern with Ingenex Digital Marketing.
Hi, I'm Erica Vitkin. I'm with Catherine's Catering, and I'm the marketing director. Hi, I'm Judy DeFord, and I'm with the Betty Brigade. If anybody needs any relocation help, organizing, or event planning, let me know. Those are our mainstays. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Krishna Papatica, and I'm also an intern at Ingenex and very excited to be part of it. And I'm also getting my master's in public relations at Michigan State.
Hi, I'm Ashley Frashoni. I'm also an intern with Ingenex. That's it.
Hi, I'm Emily Walsh, and I'm also an intern at Ingenex.
I do not work for Ingenex, like everybody else does. But I'm Jim Musio. I work in web and mobile development, and we help companies with their digital strategy. So if you have a small business that needs help with the digital strategy, I'd love to talk to you. Thanks.
Hi, my name is Sydney Hawkins, and I'm Communications Director at the Ann Arbor Area Convention and Visitors Bureau. If you want to shorten that up and find us online, we're Visit Ann Arbor. Thanks.
My name is Gregory Bentel, and I work with Spring Arbor University at Christian Liberal Arts University near Jackson, Michigan. I'm an adjunct instructor, but I also recruit online graduate students, particularly for our MBA program, which you can do for under $25,000 in 18 months. It's designed with the working professional in mind.
Hi, my name is Jordan Beecham. I work for Dexter Builders. I help with the marketing there, and we're just here to try to figure out how we can get a better web and a social media base so we can get our company out and about.
I'm Roger Rayle. I'm a venture catalyst. I help make ideas work, and I'll be videoing at Detroit New Tech tonight, A2 New Tech next Tuesday, ACE at the end of the month. I've started a video meetup group. Our initial meeting is next Wednesday night at Pizza Pino at 6:30, so come see me afterward if you'd like to be part of this group that has anything to do with video.
I'm Dennis Skupinski. I help out Roger with the videoing and also in sales and marketing.
I'm Neil Isaacs. I work with businesses, individuals, on how to market themselves better using LinkedIn and Twitter.
I'm Bud Gibson. I created the search marketing program at Eastern Michigan University, and last 2 years we launched the search marketing workshop. Lots of attendance from here, so thank you again. New Year's resolution, new project I'm launching on a book, Lessons in Search Marketing. I'd appreciate any advice I can get. I have an idea of how to go about this, but first time.
Hello, I'm Jim Campbell, and we specialize in creating exciting content for video marketing, and we invite you to see our website, marketing on excitingproductions.com.
Mike Brooks, I'm with Import Technologies. We're a startup company specializing in some unique specialty type materials. And talk to me about ACE, going to it, volunteering, or exhibiting.
I'm Leslie McGraw, and I'm with Let's Go Social Media Marketing and Training, where we help small businesses as well as the solopreneur find their own voice using online tools.
Hi, I'm Mary Lou. I'm with LA2M. Thanks everyone for coming out. Great presentation, Mark. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we have another one request for Mark. We also are looking for additional speakers, so if you know someone who can compare to Mark, that'd be really good information as far as someone who would be a good match for speaking here. So thanks for coming again, and have a good afternoon.
Hi, I'm Carter Sherline from Print Studios, and I'm a commercial, editorial, and portrait photographer. And pictures from today's meeting and all these meetings go up on the group's Facebook page.
Here, here. Thanks for taking those pictures, Carter. So, just a quick question, Mary Lou. How far are we booked forward in sponsors?
For sponsorships
Yeah.
through February, so we're looking for March.
So we're looking for a March sponsor. So I heard there was something about boudoir, and see, that'd be perfect. That would go good. But even if you're not the boudoir company, you can sponsor for March for $250. So think about that. You just give us a verbal and let Mary Lou know, and we'll kind of get you in the queue. We have Serve Pro this month, like I said, and then Leslie with Let's Go Marketing is next month. So thanks, Leslie. But yeah, so I just fired up my trusty. Oh, you know what? My name's Derek Maramon. Sorry, I keep forgetting to introduce myself. I run a company called Ingenix Digital Marketing. We have a bunch of amazing interns and wonderful people who work there. Jim doesn't work there yet, but he's a great guy still. But we do digital marketing. We're just a couple doors down. We like the convenience at LA2M. We don't have to come from Waterford. And it's not too far to go to Ipsy to see that talk. That'd be a great talk at Sparky. So thanks for announcing that. I just fired up my LA2M to Go app. Does everybody have that? You all need this. If you have an iPhone, LA2M mobile app. And next week is actually going to be really interesting. Not that this week wasn't interesting. I think that's the trend, is that, I didn't mean it like that. The trend is we have interesting speakers. We really do. I mean, who learned a lot today? I mean, I always judge a speaker by the ideas I get. You know what I mean? Because it has to give you ideas. And I think there was lots of examples that everyone could say, oh, that's a good idea, I can do that. So next week, we have Rhonda Foxworth and some other people from Bank of Ann Arbor. That's our local bank. That's LA2M's bank. They're good people. But they're going to talk about Facebook promotions and incentives. They've done some really amazing incentive programs with their Facebook pages. And so they're going to give a really nice case study. So if you want to learn about how to use Facebook to incentivize customers, come next week. It's the real deal. All right? Until then, go make some money and have fun. See you next time.
So,